and Mike Cooper to Wigan. So there you go. That's some news from Super League. Women's Super League game of the week is definitely York versus Leeds. That's on Sunday at 12 p.m. I don't know if it's going to be on any sort of sportsman coverage or something, but hopefully people will be able to see that because that should be a cracker.
Should be. Same as the York Saints game was.
Yep. I actually think Huddersfield versus Wigan this weekend should be a good game as well. So at the bottom end of the Super League one, they're playing for like fourth place, aren't they, those two?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Championship games of the week. There's 2 rounds in the championship. So Workington versus London Broncos is on Thursday, 12:30 p.m. on Premier Sports. That's the bottom 2. That's a big game.
Yeah, it's massive. It's an absolute must-win for Workington. No question.
But if London win, it could be a big boost for them to get safety.
Yes, you think so.
The real game of the day that week is the 2 giants of days gone by. The Widnes versus Bradford, Thursday at 3 p.m. That's 2 teams who need to rescue their seasons as well, but from a more upwards-looking perspective. Dewsbury versus Whitehaven is another big game at the bottom on Sunday at 3 p.m. So I pulled that one out to talk about. I think, especially if London can go to Workington and get a job done, then that puts extra pressure on Dewsbury to win at home against another side down low in the table, doesn't it?
Does, yeah.
And then the TV game on Monday night on Premier Sports, 7:45 p.m. kickoff for Featherstone versus Bradford. So you'll get to see your guys on the TV.
Well, hopefully Featherstone have had a bit of a hangover. Yeah,
well, for Featherstone and Lee to play 2 games in 4 days the week after the 1895 Cup final, I think is a rough do. But in a way,
I'm hoping we can take advantage.
Yeah, there should be no sympathy for them because they're miles ahead and stuff. Championship news. Do you want to take us through the first few?
Yeah, so Papua New Guinea international Dion I has signed a new 3-year deal with Championship side Whitehaven.
London have announced the signing of Italy international and French Elite Championship Grand Final winner Brock Pellegria from Carcassonne.
And Whitehaven re-signed forward Jake Bradley on a contract until the end of the 2023 season.
News also today that Widnes have signed Kyle Amor for next season. So he's on loan at Warrington for this season. Then he moves over the divide to Widnes. I thought he'd hang up the boots, but he's only gone to halfway there. Warrington forward Ellis Robson has joined Newcastle Thunder on a permanent deal, whilst Riley Dean has also joined them on loan. He's been on loan there before, so I'm sure they'll be glad to have him back. And Featherstone Rovers have signed Sam Essay on a season-long loan from Wakefield. That's to replace a couple of guys who got injured during that 1895 Cup final. League One games of the week. The R-League game, Saturday 1 p.m, is Cornwall versus London Scholars. So we should, at the end of Saturday, only have one team without a win in League One. Which one will it be? Oh, no, London have already got a win, haven't they?
Yeah.
So we've only got one team without a win now, haven't we? I forgot about that. Oh, well, Cornwall are buggered then.
Before this, I would have thought this should be kind of close, but London are in a they'll be hoping to make the most of their good form. So, yeah.
And I know they've got a deal and stuff with Cornwall to play their games on our league, but fucking hell, the cameras should be at North Wales versus Keighley Saturday 5:30 p.m. kickoff. That's where the cameras should be this weekend.
Yeah, this is a massive game in League One. Absolutely massive. 2 unbeaten teams going at it.
Now that definitely will happen. That someone will lose the first game.
Yes. Yes, or it might be a draw.
Someone, at least one team will lose their 100% record.
Correct. We can be 100% confident about that prediction.
What about League One news?
So Toby Everett has extended his loan with Keighley for the remainder of the season from Batley.
Sticking with Keighley, head of rugby Andrew Henderson has signed a new 2-year deal with the side. That obviously means he's not going to Widnes or to London or to Bradford. And Keighley have released Robert Matamosi from the remainder of his contract due to an increase in work commitments with the Army. Meanwhile, Chris Cullimore has joined Midlands Hurricanes on loan for the rest of the season, and Miles Tate has joined teammates Cian Fisher and Keenan Dyer-Dixon on season-long loan deals at the West Wales Raiders. Make sure you get your fan views in on all of those matches next week. Certainly, I'll need you to tell me what's happened. So please get your fan reviews in on those matches. We're now going to wrap up what is definitely going to be the longest show of this year. Maybe not, actually. Maybe not, but
we'll see.
It's going to be close to it.
So we begin the wrap-up, as is tradition, with the SLP quiz. And I've written this one for you this week.
Good stuff.
Nice and easy, very quick. It's almost like I predicted it in terms of how long the show was going to be. But yes, they're just very quick questions, kind of two options. And it's based on attendances. So I think there's a few mutters and groans about the attendance at the Challenge Cup final being only 51,000. But yes, the question is, I'm going to give you the year, and I want you to tell me in that year whether it was the Grand Final or the Challenge Cup that had the highest attendance. Simple as that.
Say that again.
So I'm going to give you the year.
Oh, okay. Right,
and you're going to tell me whether it was the Grand Final or the Challenge Cup that had the highest attendance.
Okay.
I can give you the teams that were in the games if that helps you.
Well, yeah.
So the first year I've given is 2019.
2019. So the Grand Final was Salford versus St Helens, and the Challenge Cup final was Warrington versus St Helens. I'm gonna go Grand Final.
It was the Grand Final. So there's 64,000 at the Grand Final and 62,000 at the Challenge Cup final. Okay, 2003.
So 2003.
A year picked completely at random, and not because Bradford were in both of these games.
I can't remember 2003. was that? Did you beat us that year in the Grand Final? Or
yeah. So the Grand Final was Bradford against Wigan,
right?
And the Challenge Cup final was Bradford and Leeds at the Millennium Stadium.
I'm gonna go Grand Final.
Okay, it was Challenge Cup.
Oh.
There was 71,000 at the Challenge Cup and 65,000 at the Grand Final.
Okay.
And the last one was 2015.
2015. So that was the Challenge Cup final was the Leeds versus Hull KR one. I was at that game, so I should know how full it was. And the Grand Final was Wigan versus Leeds. I was at that one. I think that Grand Final was listed as a sellout. But I reckon Hull KR would have taken a lot to a Challenge Cup final for the first final that they'd had in 20 years, even though they all would have been crying from like 10 minutes in. How much would a sold out Grand Final have been? 70, 75, 76,000. I'm going to go Grand Final.
It was Challenge Cup.
Aww.
Challenge Cup was 79,000. So,
do you know what? I talked myself around that one too much.
So, yeah, you did all right. But yeah, it just shows you that that in terms of attendances, the kind of drops in attendances, it is a fairly recent phenomenon in terms of Challenge Cup. It has dropped in the last few years, definitely.
Yeah. There's many factors that go into play, and this year in particular, many factors with the costs, the different parts of the costs associated and stuff.
Yeah.
There's things that need working on. I think it is a topic of discussion that the governing body and their new strategic partners need to be having with rugby league people and rugby league fans.
It's definitely. I've said this last year, but I'll reiterate it just briefly. Neutral fans, or the lack of neutral fans at these games, is to me a bit of a problem. However,
I think I saw every single Super League and Championship club represented on my sort of trip around, around the ground, inside the ground, on the train. I saw the last club to tick off my list was the London Broncos.
Okay. I just think it's a volume thing. I think the section I was in was, was sold directly by the RFL. Nominally it should have been a neutral section, but generally speaking, there was quite a lot of Huddersfield and Wigan fans around me as well. It wasn't like it was full of just neutral kind of people who bought tickets. So we definitely need to do a better job of communicating it to neutrals in terms of making it a must see thing.
Neutrals and people who aren't necessarily rugby league diehards but might want to go to a big sporting event. If you can sell the day,
yes. And that's the thing, that the three guys next to me that'd never been to rugby league before. The guy was asking me where Featherstone was, which I thought was quite funny.
Yeah.
He's like, "Is it near Penistone?" I'm like, "Well, I guess if you're from kind of Essex, London, where I guess it kind of is quite near Penistone." Yeah. But yeah, I was telling him what Featherstone was and what it was about and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's he had no clue who these teams were that he was watching, but he had a good day.
He didn't get the "you're losing to a bus stop" joke then from the Leaf fans.
No,
I bus stop. That's what they were singing.
I did communicate. I did try to communicate to him the relationship between Lee and Wigan. I think he got it, but yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any? I don't have a recommendation this week. I think I'll start having a few over the next few weeks. So I'm starting to do a bit more holidaying and stuff. But do you have any recommendations from your trip down to London?
What did I do? I really just did things that were very well known. I mean, I could recommend the National Gallery to you, but I mean, I think everyone knows about that. So,
what did you see there? Anything in particular that?
So I did a little. So I didn't have masses of time because I did it on Friday night. I kind of did it when I got down and kind of wanted to get back. So I did a little tour of if you're going by the Sainsbury's wing, you kind of go up to the first floor, and there's like a guided tour around like Dutch masters, which is a very a type of painting and
that sort of business.
Rembrandt, Vermeer, Van Dyck. Peter Paul Rubens, all that kind of stuff, all that kind of Flemish and Dutch painting of the kind of 16th century, 15th, 16th, 17th century is my kind of bag. And it was a very National Gallery is massive, obviously. You could spend a whole day in there, but they actually had this really good route planned out, so you could kind of, if you look interested in this type of thing, these are the rooms you need to go around and kind of keep it kind of quite limited.
Yeah.
Which
That's
is quite smart,
clever,
actually.
I think, yeah.
Because
you can't be overwhelmed in galleries and places like that.
I've done that multiple times. I've gone to the Louvre, or I've been to kind of galleries of that kind of size, and there's just too much. You can't process it. But this was really good. I knew what I was going to see. I kind of went straight to it. Kind of 45 minutes, kind of looking around. It was quite interesting being open late on a Friday night, and then kind of in and out, kind of really quite quickly. But it was really good, and I always try to do something that I can't do at home.
Yeah.
If I'm going to London, I have to I have to take advantage of that. So yeah, National Gallery was my choice.
Good stuff. We've got Sarah next week, so hopefully she watches the games and can tell us what's happened.
Could be a very quick show otherwise.
We'll go from 3 hours to 1 hour. So hopefully Sarah will have plenty to say next week. And reminders people to let me know if you have interest in co-hosting the next guest episode show, which is going to be the show on the 28th of June, so in a month's time. So get your names in so I can put it in the hat, basically. But thanks to everyone for listening. We'll give a quick shout out to our friends Rob Megastore and SLP10 on checkout and get 10% off your order. Little Warden, I managed to run into Dom and Grandad at we should start promoting his new app, actually, his new app for going to see stage shows and musicals. But anyway, head to littlewarden.com to see what they can do for you. And Sarah's bookcase, Sarah sells Usborne books with access over 3,000 titles from baby to young adults. There's something for everyone. Find out more on the Facebook page. Find out more about all of those guys. The links will be on superleaguepod.com. episode blog post. I want to thank David. If you want to follow David on Twitter, it's at Pen